Hello and welcome to episode 43 of the No Excuses podcast. My name's Anne and I live in Worcestershire with my hubby, Tom, and Bertie the dog, who, as usual, is behind me. Welcome back. It's been about 2.5 weeks since I last recorded. And I would have recorded at the weekend, but it was so hot. And, anybody in the UK, well, most people in the UK, have been complaining about the heat. Luckily, it broke on sort of Monday, really, for us. Still very warm and sticky Monday. So now it's Thursday, and we had quite a bit of rain the other day. And our water butts have gone from being empty to being full. So Tom's doubled the number of water butts we've got, and we're waiting for the next lot of rain. I'm waffling already. Well, you're used to it, aren't you? Today we have got a couple of finishes, 3 finishes actually, some progress, a little bit of incoming, and bits and pieces about where I've been and what I've been doing and what I've been eating when I've been out, etc, etc, because I know you like to hear all this. So I've prepared my notes. I'm not sure if there's anything I've forgotten. How do you know if it's forgotten? I've not got full makeup on today. I put some powder on my face, some proper mineral powder at about, it's 4:30 now. I put it on about 10 o'clock. And I think it's lasting fairly well. And I've put a little bit of colour on my eyebrows and a bit of lippy on. But I'm not fully made up, so if I look like I've got smaller eyes or I don't look as, I can't say polished as I usually am, because I would never describe myself as that, but that's the reason. Anyway, hello and welcome. As I've just said, we have got 2 make-alongs running in this group at the moment. The first is the bob-along, which will run to the end of September, so you've got about 6 weeks to get your entry in if you haven't already. It is open to any item that's bigger than a dishcloth. Sorry, that's a helicopter coming over. Got the patio doors open because of the warmth of the day. So if I just waffle, as you know, it'll pass over. The police headquarters isn't far from me, so we often get the police helicopter coming over us several times a week. They're not based there. They're based nearer to Dudley, I think. But anyway, we're in the flight path. And also, if I keep clearing my throat, I'm sorry. Sometimes my blood pressure tablets apparently make me go a lot, and some days are worse than others, even though I took the tablet several hours ago. Get those apologies out there now. So yeah, the bob-along, let's go back to what we were talking about. The bob-along can be anything bigger than a dishcloth, but if you've got a bobble in it, or you're using scraps or both, you'll get an extra entry for either of those things. But you need to tell me, even if you think it's evident, that they're there, so I can add you in for extra entries. And I'll do it all on a spreadsheet and get the random number generator working to pick a winner at the end of September. It'll be the beginning of October by the time I speak to you about it. You can enter on Ravelry or on Instagram or by email, and all the contact details and links directly to my group on Ravelry or Instagram. The hashtags are there. You just need to copy and paste them if you don't want to have to remember them, and you can use them on Instagram. So there's 3 different ways you can enter. And the other one is the year-long one that I'm running, which is something new in 22. There's quite a few of these on the internet, so enter mine and others, whatever takes your fancy. And it's really any new thing that you've done. It could be a new hobby, it could be a new yarn, it could be a new technique, or a new series of stitches. I'll leave that to you. I am not going to be strict about the rules and regulations here, because we're only a small podcast and I want to encourage more entries. Now, speaking of which, I keep an eye on my subs, and I think this morning when I had a look, I'd got to, I think it was 597, so we're really, really near to the 600 mark. And I've noticed that other podcasters that have perhaps even started after me are already over the 1,000 mark. Now, I'm not complaining at all. It doesn't bother me, really, because I'm not in this to set up a shop or anything. I'm sharing my knitting and my sort of day-to-day activities with you. But it would be nice, I think, if I got to 1,000, then I would think about doing the occasional live chat with you. I know we could do that on Zoom, but I think with a live chat, I do the talking and you do the typing. And I think as an initiate, that might be easier for me. I'm copying out there, aren't I? But yeah, so if you watch me on a regular basis and you don't subscribe, then please do. It doesn't cost anything, and you can unsubscribe at any time if you're fed up with me. And there's a bell icon, I think, as well. I read different things about whether that works or not, but you'll get updated if you click on the bell icon. Get updated if I put a new video up. So yeah, join in the fun. It's not obligatory. If you don't want to subscribe and you just want to watch me occasionally, then I'm not going to come and find you. It's entirely up to you. So yeah, there we go. So let's get into the knitting, shall we? Now, my glasses I've got the camera in slightly a different position, and I did have my ring light on, but it was washing me out a little bit more. I have tried to find somewhere else for me to podcast, but I think in the summer months we're going to get blown out a bit because I am near the window where my table is. I'm not going to be able to reach things I want to reach easily if I move to somewhere else. So I'm sorry, I've got to put up with the washed out version of me, I'm afraid, until the darker days come. That's got darker just. What am I wearing, first of all? I am wearing a Stylecraft pattern, which I will put down below because it's on my laptop. I've got details of it. I think it's discontinued. You may be able to get it somewhere else, I don't know. It is a tunic style. It's got garter. You can't see because I'm getting washed out. You might be able to see just there's a little tuck. It's got a little pleat in the front. It's got a garter edging around the neck and on the bottom, and it's got a garter panel down under the arms. And I've knitted this quite long, longer than the pattern shows. And this is blowing out because even though there's some colour there, it's white and I'm near the window. So this is called Sirdar Sundae, Sundae, as in the ice cream. I knitted it about 4 or 5 years ago, and it's lovely. Sirdar did a number of yarns that were 50% cotton, 50% acrylic, and they did calico, which was plain, and there were sort of muted shades. I had something like, you'd call it a sand colour, or maybe. It was like a nice beige, but not a very creamy beige. And I knitted a cardigan in that. I think I got rid of it because it grew a bit, because this is plenty big enough as well. They did this, which was the Sundae, which is like soft stripes. Let me pick it up a bit. You can see there's different colours in it. That's better, isn't it? Maybe I'm too far from the screen, I don't know. No. Then, and they did summer stripes, which is, it had a main colour, and then it had lots of other colours in it as well. And the only way I can liken it is, you get hand-dyed skeins sometimes. When they're twisted in the skein, they're all one colour down, and then the top of them are different colours. And then when you undo it, the yarn cake looks totally different. The summer stripes was a bit like that. And I thought there was a fourth, but I can't remember what that was called now. But they were all 50-50%, 50-50 cotton and acrylic. Wash and wear lovely, and they're DK weight. If you ever see any in D-Stash, and you fancy making some summer knits, and these would be ideal as well for children's knits, then I'd highly recommend it because they dry quickly as well. So this is my Sunday top, and I'm not going to sing Sunday Girl by Blondie, even though I like the song. And in my ears, I'll take one out if I can without. I have got some of my earrings, a pair of earrings from the 1980s. There you go. I've got a little bit of purple to go with the top, obviously, and on a gold wire. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm missing a bit there. Let's swing that over. And there's got a twirly bit on it as well. There we go. So those are my earrings. So that's what I'm wearing. And yeah, let's get on to what we've finished. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is the thing I was knitting on before, and this is the summer top that I've used the stitch pattern, if you remember, out of the Japanese Stitch Bible. So it's got that pattern on, the Foxy's Face one, and I put the edging pattern, I'll show you what I mean, you know I'm no good at holding things up, on the sleeve as well. Okay, little, it's just twisted stitches. So the panel that runs either side of the main panel on the front is on the sleeves. And this is made out of Stylecraft Naturals Bamboo and Cotton DK. It's based, the stitch measurements are based on the Mistral pattern, which is a Rowan Summerlite cotton pattern in the book that I've shown you previously. I will put the links down below. And I've done short sleeves because the original pattern was long sleeves. And also I changed the neck to a rib neck because the other one on the original Mistral was rolled and I didn't want that. I wanted something a bit tighter. I picked up the stitches, and for a change I actually picked up the number they recommended. And I looked at the picture and I thought, it's a bit loose for me. It'll show me bra straps all the time, and I have got very narrow shoulders. So I just decreased, I picked them up and then I decreased every 9th stitch I knitted 2 together. I'm pleased with that. I have put it on, I've not worn it. I've put it on, I need to get Tom to weigh it so I know how much meterage is in there because I like to keep track of my meterage. It's a bit, not tight, but a bit fitted on the arms. My chummy arms have got the better of me on the pattern. Because I did the short sleeves, I hazard a guess as to what my stitch count should be at a certain way down. But I still used that stitch count from the pattern. So in theory it should have worked. But it's not tight, it's just a little bit more fitted than I'd like. Because I feel that accentuates the being no wings. And we'll hastily move on to another subject. That's my top. I think we'll have to call it Stylecraft Naturals top because it's not made out of anything the pattern was. Now, excuse the crinkling, I'm just going to show you these 2 items that are now finished. I showed you before. I need to get some photographs of these. These are 2 for the craft store if we get if that goes ahead in the winter. This is the no pearl ribbed scarf pattern, and I've put tassels at the end. I don't know whether I showed you the tassels before. I put tassels and I've done 3 knots to separate the tassels from the actual scarf, and then I've tied them in and then sewn the ends in. So and I've tried to make the tassels in different colours as well. See, there's a couple in brown there. Different colours at the end. This is lovely feeling yarn. It's King Cole Riot Chunky. and this is the apple crumble colourway. So it goes, it's got a little bit of grey, blue, pale green, red, like a plum colour, and almost brown, I'd say. So it's very, very nice. It feels nice. And the pattern, I'll link it down below as always, is free on Ravelry. I don't know whether it's available anywhere else. I couldn't find it. I think I looked. I tried to look because I know some people can't use Ravelry. It's still an issue for them, or they don't want to use it. I find it very useful myself, and I can use it, so I do. But if I can find an alternative to any patterns, I do try to put them down below as well. And this is the, I bought a yarn cake, and this is the Curiosity DK. Again, it's acrylic, and it's a king cole yarn, and this one's called Fizz. So it starts out sort of almost a greeny grey, and then it progresses, and I've just done a very plain asymmetric shawl. Now, I did do a ribbon at the end, but I found it was pulling it in a lot. So I undid that. I'd sewn it up and everything. I undid that, and I just knitted it at the end. So you can see, just put it closer to you so it's not blowing out as much. And then I was looking for a cast off because I wasn't happy doing a standard cast off because it's quite stretchy. And I've done the sewn cast off, which is really, really easy to do. And I'll put a link to a tutorial. But you can't really see, but you can see how neat it is, and you can see that it's very flexible. It's not dissimilar to a tubular bind off. It doesn't look like the stitches are disappearing. There is an edge there, but it's a very flexible edge. And basically, you go into 2 stitches, and I think you can start out like this. You just end slightly differently, but the tutorial shows you. You take the next 2 stitches to cast off, going in purlwise with a needle and thread. You save about 4 times the length. Don't cut it. You know, it's still attached to your knitting. When you finished your last row, you go through 2 stitches purlwise, and then you go back to the first stitch knitwise and take it off the needle, and you just repeat that process all the way along. So I am quite pleased with this, and it is ready for the stall again. Okay, so next we have some progress. Now I am knitting. I'll just have to move the microphone. Make this microphone. I had 200 grams left over from the Mistral, the top I've just shown you. It's made out of the Stylecraft bamboo and cotton. And I decided that I wanted to knit up another quick top. You know, I've got all this wool, all this yarn, and I decided I'm going to knit something that isn't in my original plan in my head. And I was in Worcester on, like this Monday gone, the week before, on the 8th, and went into, I think it was Tuesday actually, went into House of Habby, in the market stall there, and I bought some Rowan Summerlite DK in the mocha colourway because I thought it went rather well with the pumice. Let's see if I can hold these together for you. Probably not. They look quite nice together, don't they? Oh, I think so. And all I've done is I've cast on the same number of stitches as for that top, but I did the top on a 3.75 needle, and I'm doing this on a 4.5. That's the right side. I think it can take it quite well. There's no holes in this, as in, you know, pattern, lace pattern, I mean, not drop stitches. So I'm just doing a 6-row stripe with the change on the right side because I like the way it's doing. I did a broken rib at the bottom. Not that you'll see that really anyway when I've got it on. And the idea is I do loose sleeves, and it's just going to be a loose top. I bought 200 grams of the mocha, and I had 200 grams of thing, but I think I'm going to run out again. So I've just ordered some more mocha. I think with commercial yarn, I don't have to worry too much about whether it's the same dye lot, because I won't be getting into Worcester anytime soon. And I want to get it finished. You know, once I start something, I tend to want to get it finished. But with this, I knew I'd run out, and I don't want to put it away, because then it's going to be next year before I get it out again. And I don't think a different dye lot from a different source is going to make a really big difference. Just put my microphone gently back on top of my project bag. Okay, so that's my latest cast on for me. The next thing that I've been working on is the crochet scarf, and if you've seen Instagram, you've seen that. You remember I did all those little granny squares. Well, these are how I've joined them, using West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply in licorice, and the minis that I've used are mainly the Shadow minis by Rivenet, and I bought 4 more, mainly these brighter ones, when I went to Wonderwall. So the idea is that I'm going to join them. I was thinking of doing them 5 across. I'm going to have 6 of these eventually. I've done 3, and I was going to do them that wide, but it is a quite wide scarf then. Bearing in mind I'm going to go around again just once double crochet, which is trebles in America. But I've decided now to do it on end. So I'm going to take 2 panels, join the panels with a fairly short black stripe, join them like that, done in granny trebles again, and I think I'm going to do them just the depth of one of these. So that's 1, 2, 3, 6. So there'll be 6 rows, and I'll join them, the last row, to that, to the next one up, and then I'll have a long scarf. Now, I mean, obviously when you crochet, you know that there's generally a right side and a wrong side, and because I've used the join as you go method, it's sitting fairly flat. It probably needs a press. Can't show you the close up. Being black, it's very, very difficult to photograph. And then on the other side, it does look quite different. So I mean, it looks like there's more black on that side, in a way. But I think to a non-crocheter, that they're not going to see that. So yeah, I'm pleased with how that's looking. I'm trying to get each panel different slightly, but I'm not going to get too head up about it. So I'll do another one later tonight, and another one tomorrow, and I might end up getting this scarf finished by early next week or over the weekend. Today's Thursday, so I will then very gently wash it, or I might just spray it with Eucalan or soak and let it dry, press it slightly, and then that will again go to in the bag for the store. We don't know. Penny has phoned up the organisation that run the craft. You see Bertie going out there, but they've said they've not even thought about it yet. They've been, come back to us in September type of thing. So we'll see. I'm not going to make anything else now. If we get a stall, then I will make some more items as and when we know where we stand. So that's my crochet scarf. And then I've been doing, I'm quite placid usually. I rarely lose my temper. You think, what the hell's coming? I rarely lose my temper, but I can get really, really hit up occasionally. I'm going to move this thing again. My lovely husband, who waits on me hand and foot, and I make no bones about that, he does. He bought a glider. You know, he flies model planes. He bought a glider, and as you can imagine, a glider will, he puts motors on most of his planes. With a glider, you can put a motor on it, but you don't have to use the motor, and you use the flaps, etc., and the tail, the rudder, etc., to fly, just like a real glider would, because obviously they're not all motorised. But this, they are feather light, literally, and he wanted some bags to cover up the wingtips for transportation. So, I'll just show you the finished product. He wants 4. 2 will remain fixed to either side of the fuselage, and then the 2 other tips will be removable, and they're more delicate because they are on their own and they get narrower as they get towards the end. When I bought my bedding, Christy kindly gave me 2 bags. The bedding came in a bag, and it was elasticated at the top, so I took the elastic out. It's brushed cotton, and then we had a bit of a sort out of clothes the other day, and Tom gave me, he wanted a soft lining so it didn't scratch the surface of the glider, and we cut up 2, well, I cut up 2 of his old fleece that he's had for years. In fact, one of them, the blue one that I've got here in this bag, he had when I met him, and that was 19 years ago. I've known him for 19 years ago. And he used to smoke then and weld, and it's got holes in it. But being fleece, they've just, doesn't fray. So, don't want any seams on the inside because it can rub on the glider. So I've zigzagged the edges, not very well, as you can see, and I've hemmed it. So now and it's got ties, so you can put it in, slide it on to the side that meets the fuselage, and then there's a hole at the end where he can, there's something that sticks out, can come out of there. So I had this to do yesterday. I have said many times that I am not a great sewer, and I mean it. You know, I call my bags wonky for a reason. I don't have the height to measure things and put things out there. So I do a lot by eye. I don't do a lot of measuring. If you have a wonky bag of mine, by the way, and it starts falling apart, send it back to me. I'll repair it. I'll pay for the postage, because this has made me worry now about my sewing, thinking it's even worse than I thought it was. I mean, my bag should be structurally okay, but I'm just putting that caveat out there. And so I made these bags for him. I made 2, and I was getting so ratty, but no, I honestly thought I was swearing a lot. And I thought, I'm going to take these bloody things outside, I'll take some matches, I'm going to throw them on the lawn, I'm going to set fire to them. Bearing in mind, we've had a drought. Well, we'd had a lot of rain the day before. I was so angry. And I tell him I'm angry, and he said, I'm sorry. He said, I didn't mean for you to get angry. And I said, no, I'm sorry, because you do so much for me. He asked me to do this thing, but I just felt like I wasn't making any progress. The second one went together far better, so that's the other colour of our bedding. And I'm happy. I've zigzagged the edges, and all the seams are on the outside of the bag, so they don't rub. But I kid you not, a switch just went off in my head, and I'm like, at one point I seemed to be cutting round and round and round and round and round, and I was thinking I was going to end up with some postage stamp size piece of fleece or cotton. this is for the wingtips. This is one of them. Now mainly the sleeves, luckily, off the fleece. So you've got both colours again. I've hand sewn them together to stop them from moving. Sewn up the ends so they don't come out. But to get to that shape, and to get, I know sleeves are that shape, yeah, I know. But it just seems such a trial for me. Again, the seams are on the outside. And I've got to cover these now with cotton of some sort and put them, yeah, and then I'll be done. I'm not doing them today or tomorrow. I might do them at the weekend. But I don't know. I mean, I want to do some dressmaking. And if I haven't got the patience, you know. But then I've got a pattern, haven't I, for the dressmaking. And I should have done. He made me a pattern. He made these foam shapes, which I haven't got with me. I don't want to move Bert, because I think he's come back. He's on his bed behind me. But I was just getting myself in such a state. And that's rare for me. I am usually the calm one. I can see a bird's tail. Oh, it's a magpie. Right on the, or is it a, oh no, it might be a pigeon. Standing on the gutter. Looking at the food over there. So, we've been going for 35 minutes. There's a bit of gap in the middle where I put things away. So that is the progress that I've been working on. So now we go on to incoming. Well, there isn't a lot that I can show you this time. I've shown you these Summerlite DK in the mocha colourway already. I bought that to go with the pumice. I'm working with that. And I've also bought from Fearless Yarns some fairy dust, their colour fairy dust in the DK. And I'm going to show you a photograph of that because I've put it away. And then I have ordered more yarn to knit an old friend a pink scarf. She wanted a pink shawl. She wanted it in bubblegum pink. And I thought, well, no, that's not the way it is. I wanted to make something out of my stash. And I thought, well, she's, you know, such an old friend. I'll see if I can see anything that I'm happy to buy. And then Wildflower Yarn had, I think it was a 20% off or something for her birthday. And she had two of these nice pink colour. But it seems to have gone missing. She's been in touch with me. I wrote to her and she's been really good. And she said she'll put two aside for me again to send if I haven't had them by the beginning of next week. Because she's paid for tracking and insurance. And Royal Mail say they can't find it. They don't think it's lost. Anyway, she'll get her money back because it's insured, so that's okay. And then, finally, in terms of doing things and buying things, and, you know me, I like to plan stuff. I'm not very good at using a planner. Sal sent me this book a while ago. And, did I show you this last time? Let me... 27th of July. Oh, okay. So yeah, Sal sent me this book a while ago. Hello, Sal. Sal's in Welsh. Sal. No, she's in Wales. And I decided to use it. I had a load of like patterns lying around out of magazines and this, that, and the other. And I thought, right, I want to put them into a book because I don't want to put them in another wallet folder and then forget where I put them. So with stuff like that, I'm putting it in the book. It's different from my plans where I'm putting photographs of the jumpers and cardigans and tops I'd like to make. So I've got a couple of pages I've left for contents. I've got to put them close to you. And then what I've done is I've put, let me show you. I've put a little tag at the side This one says colour theory, and then I had that in the magazine, so I cut that out. I can't see you now, so I hope I'm showing you. And I've got some quilting things that, you know, there's a thing there about choosing your batting, and I've put all those in the index, and I've put a little tab on the side. Got really messed up with Pritt stick. There's a hat I found, crochet hat, that I'd like to do at some point. And then there's some animals. Oh, I can show you that because it's not the pattern, but there's an animal pattern there for a little Highland cow. It only tells you what you need there. And my terrible picture of a Highland cow's face looks more like a giraffe. Useless. So I've got them on several pages. I've got English lace. Now this is, it's a pattern, but it's available everywhere. So it's just a copy of the English lace stitch, and it's probably called something else somewhere, you know. Some more animals, and then I wrote some of my shawl patterns down, because I love making shawls, as you know. I already have too many, and I forget to try. So what I've done now is I've put down the shawls, like for instance, I've written some details, so when I'm looking for how many colours I've gone to make, so I've put, i.e. Radat shawl by Let's Knits. It takes 914 metres with 4-ply. I own it already. It's a crescent, and it's made up of garter, mosaic. It's got eyelets and brioche in. Brioche border, sorry, and it's 3 colours. And I'm thinking of using my Biff Sugar's maple trio. That's what I call it in my head. One of them's called maple. It's got a red, a lovely honey colour, and then a variegated yarn in the trio that I bought together from Alison of Biff Sugar Yarns earlier in the year, and I'm thinking of making that shawl there. And then I've done that for 1, 2, 3, 4 pages, and I've left some pages free because I want to carry on doing that. And then I've done what I did before, and I've thrown that book away now, because I've done a very brief sketch of the dress patterns that I own, with the basics on how much fabric I need, what shape it looks like roughly, and a very brief description of each pattern. So I made the Gilbert shirt already, and this is just an aid for me as a quick flick through to do what I'm doing. And then at the back I've put some useful notes. So I've got Tom's measurements, I've got my friend Michelle's glove measurements, and I've also written some blurb about sewing machine needles that I'd picked up somewhere else and I'd written down. But I want this book to be a permanent fixture with bits and pieces in, because I'm very good at writing stuff down, really. I just write them down in a variety of places. Not the same thing in a variety of places, but I want to sort of have a more cohesive place to put odds and sods, should we call it. So I might do a label saying odds and sods on there. And that's as opposed to my Loche term, which I put stickers in, and I write things down. This is my podcast notes, and I find them quite useful, actually. The more I do that, I think it improves, well, you might not think so, but I feel it improves my flow. And that's it, really. Apart from telling you, that's all the crafting that I've done, to tell you about where I've been and what I've been doing. So if you're only here for the crafting, I'll say ta-ra now, but if you want to stay around and listen to me waffle, then yeah, you're most welcome, and thank you very much. So it's been just over 2 weeks since our last podcast, nearly 3, I think. And one of the reasons for that is because of the heat that we've had. We had about 5 days of absolutely awful heat. to the point where you don't know where to put yourself, you know. Couldn't knit because it stuck to your hand, especially that cotton that I was working with. Excuse me. Have a slurp of my Diet Tango. I met with Penny and Maggie not long after our podcast, and we just went round the local pub and had a good natter. That was nice. And then on the 8th of August, I stayed overnight in Worcester, and it was a bit of an experiment to see how I coped physically, because I've not stayed over in a hotel for about 3 years. And I've said to you before, the wheelchair that I put in the car is a lot smaller than his floating armchair thing that I sit in all day. It's not quite as supportive. It's better than my manual chair that I use in the evenings here while this is charging. But it's not as supportive as, as this armchair style chair. So I was a bit worried about how that would affect me over a 24-hour period. Anyway, Tom and Bertie dropped me in Worcester on the outskirts, and it was just when it was starting, the temperatures were getting warmer and warmer, but they weren't absolutely awful at that point. I wore my Leiden top, which is from a previous pom-pom magazine, put a photograph on Instagram, and I'll include one here. It's a lovely pattern. I think you might be able to buy it individually now rather than buy the whole magazine, but if you like several of the patterns, it's cheaper to buy the whole magazine online. It's done in a DK weight. I think I did it in linen soft by Drop and Shepsies. I'll put it down below. I should have looked that up before I started talking to you, sorry. And yeah, and I was all right in that, really. It's a nice top. Now, Penny's made two, and it does look very complicated because it's got a pattern of stripes going sort of in different directions on the front. But actually, all you're doing is picking up and knitting and going in different directions. So if you're happy just picking, and only a few stitches at that most of the time. I think the sleeves are knitted from the end in and down, and then you knit into the centre panel at the front, and then you if you've got this centre panel which has got another colour in, you'll see what I mean if you look at the pattern up, but I'll put a link down below. And it's very nice, actually. It's comfortable to wear. So I wore that, and we went to we stayed at the Travelodge, which is right next to the cathedral in Worcester. It used to be the Gifford Hotel, and I've had several Christmas dinners there, quite rowdy ones, in the past when I was a youngster, well, probably in my 30s or early 40s. So it's always been a hotel, and Travelodge took it over now. Travelodge in the past have been known as being a budget brand. I've stayed in some of their more modern hotels, and they've been very good for access. But unfortunately, I cannot say the same, not up to the same standard in Worcester. We got there and it was a double bed, but they separated them, so that was okay. I had enough room in the bedroom. I couldn't get to the hanging space, but I was only there overnight, and I didn't have anything that needed hanging. But the bathroom was very, very tight. You went in the bathroom and I had barely room to move my chair around, bearing in mind that my chair is the same size as a standard manual that would be an 18-inch seat. You do the standards are a 16-inch wide or an 18-inch wide, and they do bigger ones, but those are the most commonly used, made, manufactured, whatever you want to call it, adult seats widths. Yeah, and it was difficult to turn around, especially at night when I was trying not to make any noise and wake Michelle. And then I had the awkward thing of trying to get out the bathroom, put the light off, and even though we had the curtains open and the windows as wide as we could, because we were on our room window opened out onto the rooftops of the rest of the buildings. They've sort of put a load of restaurants in there and things in recent years. So there was a lot of different heights and stuff on the looking out of our window. It was quite interesting. Anyway, but when I turned the light off in the bathroom, I could barely get past the end of Michelle's bed and the counter that runs along where they put the telly and you put your kettle and things. And that was a bit of a bind because I didn't want to jolt her bed and wake her up. But there was a chair there and we hadn't moved it for far enough along. It was a very tight squeeze. And interestingly, I could just about reach the light switch, but it was tied up. And you shouldn't be tied up in a disabled bathroom. The towel height was okay for me to push the door. It was a towel rail handrail to pull the door shut. But the mirror was far too high for me to see into if I wanted to. And they had some hand wash, that they give you free of charge, but it was down below the sink. It was like between the toilet and the sink. So if you wanted to wash your hands while you're on the loo, you might. I couldn't reach, but I couldn't turn my hand down. I couldn't. No way. I'm not prepared to fall out of the wheelchair just to reach the hand wash. But luckily, I take all that sort of stuff with me. So yes, that was a bit of a bind. It's little things like the shower head is right at the top of the shower. Michelle said the shower was quite nice actually, but I didn't get in the bath because I never got out of there without fire brigade assistance, and there was no way I was going down that route. I don't think they, it's one written into their job descriptions that if somebody wants to have a shower or a bath in the travel lodge, then one of their duties is to come and get you out of the bath. Anyway, I say I was only there 24 hours, so although I was a bit hot and bothered, as soon as I got home I could freshen up. So, and then we went into our usual haunt, the Cosy Club, which is right next door, for our tea. Had a couple of cocktails, they were nice. But I couldn't decide on what to have. I always find it's annoying when I don't know what I'm going to eat. I'm usually disappointed. And we hadn't eaten much during the day. I was quite hungry. We shared a piece of bread. They called it sourdough loaf. It's probably got 0.1% of sourdough in it or something. With I think it was a garlic butter, a cold garlic butter. So we shared that, and then I ended up having the dirty burger, which is enormous, and I knew I wouldn't eat it all, but it was so overcooked and horrible. It comes with fries. Okay, I ate most of those. I didn't eat the burger bun. But it comes with a fritter that's made out of mac and cheese and a breaded chicken burger as well, with a bit of salad on. And it was all really overcooked, and I thought, I'm not going to bother to complain. I just ate what I wanted, and I was sorely disappointed. We had a lovely walk then down to the river, back up into town, and we sat outside Wetherspoons. We had a Prosecco, and it was ordered on the app, so brought to us. And then we walked over to Asda, and because I felt a bit deprived of having some nice food, because I hadn't been able to eat any lunch because my tummy started deciding it was going to be a bit at me. So I had half a piece of cake for my lunch. So because I felt a bit deprived, I bought a packet of cookies from Asda, the big fresh ones, triple chocolate. But I was a good girl and I didn't eat them. I shared them with Tom. We had them for our lunch the following day. So it was really hot in the room, and the seagulls were so noisy all night that I slept better than I thought I was going to actually. Got up the next morning, I got out of bed. I didn't know what time it was because I deliberately turned my phone off because I didn't take my charger with me. Because sometimes it's better if you don't know the time. But it was getting light, and it'd been getting light for some time. I just got off the bed, sat in the wheelchair. Boom! The cathedral bells went. Oh, I can count them. 7 o'clock. Boom! So, yeah, luckily they don't go all night. It's that bolt upright in bed every hour on the hour. Actually, when we'd walked back, a beautiful moon that night, it wasn't full yet, but as we walked back up to the hotel in the evening at about 9, after going to Asda and walking around and that, we saw a beautiful moon set against the cathedral, and the bells were ringing in full peal, and that was nice. I don't know whether they use bell ringers or it's an electric thing. I guess that every now and again they do use bell ringers as well as having the automatic, on the hour type of thing. Then we decided to go to Bill's for breakfast. Now, we've been to Bill's before and I quite like it there. And I was disappointed again. Michelle ordered the poached eggs with smoked salmon and a muffin, English muffin, and she said her eggs were cold, so they went back. And I was going to have the pancakes, and I wished I had, but I felt they were probably a bit sweet for breakfast. So I thought, well, I'll have the traditional because you can't go wrong with that. It came with 2 eggs that looked like they'd been sat together for ages. So they were hard boiled, not fried eggs. I'm not very good with eggs anyway. The mushrooms tasted like cardboard. I don't know what they'd been cooked in, but it was really weird. The sausage wasn't brilliant. The bacon was very streaky. I ate the toast, most of it. I was sorely disappointed, and the tomato was undercooked, and you always find that, don't you? They never grill the tomato for very long. So I'd not eaten a lot. I didn't need a lot because it was, so warm outside. But it's just disappointing when you're paying. I mean, that was £10 for that breakfast. And you think, it's just a waste of money. I wasn't prepared, again, because it's down to my taste, maybe. I've had breakfast there before and they've been fine. But this time it just didn't work for me. So I could try somewhere else next time. And there will be a next time. So, and then I came back on the bus on my own. I was a very brave girl. And I got back on the bus that goes around the houses. And it drops me literally almost in front of my house. Lovely, lovely bus driver called Gary. I said, can I have the ramp? He went, why can't you jump? I went, no, not today. I said, I might be able to another day. No. And he got out the other end. I suppose you want the ramp? I said, I don't mind that sort of thing. He was being friendly and he was lovely. I said, can you hold me back? Well, he went, yeah. Nothing was too much trouble for him. And everybody, it was like mainly pensioners, married couples, older married couples, that got on the bus. And they all knew his name. So they're obviously regulars with their bus passes. And I've got a bus pass, which I don't use very often. So. And I'd certainly go into town with him because he was so friendly. So, so that went well. It was nice to see my friend Michelle as well, of course. Now, and then this week I went to Merry Hill with Liz and Elaine. There's Bertie, he's back from his evening ablutions. He's just had his tea, so it must be 5:30. So I better get a move on. I've been talking to you for nearly an hour, but it'll edit down to a bit shorter than that. We met Liz and Elaine. Again, we ate outside at Wetherspoons for a change because we could sit at. It's the only place you can really at Merry Hill. And they wait on you, you see, if you order on the app. So we had a drink outside, we had a walk around. We didn't have too long there. We had a coffee before we left, and it was very warm still, but nothing like we had over the weekend. And then this morning I went to Webb's with Mum. I went primarily to see if they stocked the Summerlite DK, so I could buy some, but they don't appear to do any Rowan anymore in the store. And there's hardly any on the website, so I suspect they're not selling Rowan anymore. Perhaps because they didn't sell very much of it anyway, I don't know. Came home earlier than expected because I thought, we looked and the sky was going black, and I said to Mum, better get the wheelchair in the car. So, but we'd had a drink, and that was nice, and a chat. I hadn't seen my Mum for about 2 weeks because she keeps gadding about. And it was too hot to get in the car last week to go anywhere, to go and sit in somebody else's hot house to chat. So, and then, yeah, so that's it really. I have got a hydrotherapy assessment on Monday. And I'll let you know how that goes. It can take up to an hour, apparently. Interesting. And they sent me a form to fill in as well. So we'll see how that goes. And finally, books. I'm not getting on very well with books at the moment. I've started a couple, put them back. I got some from the library and I haven't enjoyed them. The only book that I've read all the way through is Girl in the Ice by Robert Brinzer. My friend Liz recommended him to me. It's based on it's most of mine are crime novels, but I just feel that people write about people not getting on in the police and stuff, and I can't believe that it's that antagonistic inside police forces. So this woman comes in from outside and, you know, things have happened to in her life and she comes over and takes over somebody else's case that's already started, and so there's some animosity from the person who's been bumped out, but the team are okay, and then things happen, and I think this is just getting stupid. You know, she wouldn't behave like that as a police officer. You know, she wouldn't go against orders like that as a police officer. You know, I can't see it seems too unrealistic to me. So despite Liz's recommendations, I didn't enjoy it as much as I hoped. Now, I've bought the second one out the library as well. I can't remember, I've got it behind me. And before I take it back next week, I may well have a go at reading that. We'll see, because in theory, all that animosity and etc., and disobedience should have gone by now. Don't get me wrong, the storyline was okay. I sort of didn't guess till near the end who it might be, but yeah, the storyline was fine. You know, I wouldn't not recommend the book to read if if you don't mind that sort of some people like they don't get on with so and so, like to see how it pans out. Yeah, it could be the same with romance novels. They hated each other at first. No, they're together. I don't know why I did that funny voice. And then the book I'm reading, and I am enjoying, is White Corridor by Christopher Fowler. It's one of the Bryant and May series, because Maggie has kindly lent me another 4 to get on with. But I stopped reading that to get the other one. I also borrowed the second Rona McLeod book, which is based on a forensic officer who's in Scotland, and they're by Lynn Anderson. And again, it was about animosity at the beginning, and I was like, I just can't be bothered with this, you know. You're not telling me that professionals don't work together because they're professionals. I just don't get it at all. So, yeah. So I gave up on that one as well, and that's going back to the library. Can you see a pattern growth? I learned about my books the other day. So, oh dear, another video started. I've just gone over the hour. So that's it. I am going to leave you now. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If we get over 600, did I say this earlier? When I hit 600, I will do a giveaway. I will do just a quick and simple giveaway though. It will be a wonky bag. Not one of those I just showed you. Probably without any yarn. I've got so much yarn that people have given to me as gifts. It'll be a quick giveaway. If you're within the UK, I will post you out a bag. If you are outside the UK, I will do a pattern prize, unless you want to contribute towards the difference in postage just for this giveaway. In my main mals, I'm happy to pay the postage. Okay, so yeah, by entering, let's think, we need to think of something, don't we? Oh yeah, Tom wanted to know, this is his latest question, what continent do you come from? You know, have I got people watching me from every continent? I know a lot of you in the UK, which isn't a continent, part of Europe, geographically. And I know I've got people in Australia and New Zealand and the US. I'm not sure whether anybody from Africa. It might be, actually. But yeah, let me know. That's Tom's question this month. Nothing to do with crafting, just where are you in the world? Which continent do you live on? And if you want to enter if I get to 600, I will do a giveaway next time. Okay? So, it's in your interest, folks, if you don't already subscribe. I'm going now. I'm going, definitely going. I'll go and get editing. All right, you take care. I love to hear from you. Get in touch. Tell me what you've been up to. I want to know the progress on all these things that you're making. Enter the moles. Please, enter the moles. Not compulsory. I'll see you really soon. All right, bye.